So you're back on here in that episode of Indigo Podcast, and today we got the finale, the last episode of all the cross country meet recaps, because cross country season is a wrap. It's now over. So I'm gonna go over this last meet, give y'all the stats and pretty much everything I always go over, and then just give y'all an idea of what my training and what like my season and running and how that'll look going on from now since the season's over. So first thing, the stats, obviously. Distance 3.1 miles, 5:55 minute per mile average pace, and my official time was 18:21:44. So that is a new PR by about 3 seconds, so that's pretty cool. Placed 50th out of 57 runners. I wasn't really concerned about placement going into this race, to be honest, because I'm not gonna lie with me, I don't really care about placing. I really care about, okay, is my times getting better? Am I getting better overall as a person and things like that? So in terms of placement, I don't really care, but I just put it out there because placing obviously is a factor in cross, so put that out there. Average heart was 147 and max 157, and the conditions were very similar to last meet, where it's kind of like nipply. It was kind of like colder. I believe when we took off, it was probably like 63. When we took off, it wasn't as cold. When you first got there, like I had a hoodie and sweats on, so it was like pretty chilly. Like especially, I believe, the morning before when we had our our shakeout run, it was pretty cold. Like I ran with a shirt on. I normally don't run with a shirt on, so that's how you knew it was a little bit cold. So heart, it was lower. I attribute that to the climate and weather. It's been a little bit colder in the mornings here in Texas, so obviously going into the fall, the weather's going to be a little bit cooler, and definitely will be cooler when track season hits, so that'll be different. And the fastest pace, this is the fastest I've ever seen in this season, because I got out pretty aggressive. That was my goal going into the race, but fastest pace was 3:27, and then just going into the splits, you'll kind of see where I'm like how like fast I got out. First split, first mile, 5:29.8. That was, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'll go more into that a little bit later on, but just in comparison to the rest of these splits I'm about to tell you, that was very aggressive for me, because my mile PR, I set a new PR last week. It's 5:07, so that's like 22 seconds off my PR. So I think that was too aggressive in my opinion. I would have liked 5:45, 5:50, and just kept it there and really like leaned into that last 0.1 of a mile and just kind of negative split it a little bit. That would have been better, and I think I would have PR'd by even more and ran potentially sub 18, but it is what it is. I'll take the PR. But other than me speaking about how fast I got out, because I think that was a pretty aggressive, but first split 5:29.8, 6 flat, and a 6:17.8. The last 0.1 of a mile, this is one of my faster kicks at the end, 4:52 average. So I'm happy with the kick. First mile, I felt fine, but I think it definitely compounded as the race got longer, and it was, I'm not gonna lie, that race is pretty tough. Like just physically and mentally, that was a very tough race. But I will say, at first, when I first saw that, like, kind of like went over the race, I was kind of like, I was kind of like questioning the race, because it's just how fast I went out that first mile, and then just all the training, and then just the way it went, because I really wanted sub 18, but PR's a PR. So I'll at this point, we got to move on and go into track season and keep getting better and keep progressing. So anyway, second thing, the course. Now, this was flat overall, but it had one hill and one ditch. So the thing is with the hill, within like a quarter mile, you're going up a pretty significant incline. You're going up the incline and you're going down the decline. The decline isn't as bad the first time, because you have like 0.25 miles on your legs. I thought I had to rethink that, make sure I said that correct. 0.25 miles, a quarter mile on your legs. So when you're going down that, it's not as devastating to your quads or calves or hamstrings or whatever other muscles are in your legs. So you're going down, and you just keep going. It's a little change elevation or whatever. Actually, might have been more of a half a mile. Honestly, I think it was like 0.47 ish. It was between a quarter mile and like half a mile. That's all you need to know. So you went down that, and then I did hear someone, I forgot who said this, but someone said the course is pretty boring. I can agree, because it's not really that many trees, or like, if you go to the bridge, there's a little bridge. If we ran around there more, I would say it's more interesting, but it's kind of like bleak and kind of just empty. So you're pretty much running like not across, but along this road line for like most of it. And other than that, it wasn't any type of elevation changes or like tree branches or anything like that, other than when you came back around, because it's pretty much an out and back. So you went out, and when you come back, you know what you if you're going out and back and you ran across the hill, guess what? You have to run on the hill again. But this time, you have like 2 miles of running pretty fast on your legs. Don't know if that made sense, but anyway, you have 2 miles like on your legs, so you're trying to go down the hill. Well, you go up the hill first, obviously, and you go down the hill. And the thing is, this is more like devastating or detrimental potentially if like you have rolling hills, because the thing is with rolling hills, if you keep going, it's just that constant pounding of the pavement onto your quads, and it can really beat you down if you haven't trained with hills or any type of elevation training in your training block. So other than that, the hill, I did kind of feel that coming back. Other than that, the course was at a park, so it was pretty nice. It was this nice bridge. And then I remember on my cool down, I was cooling down with one of my teammates named James, and we saw this dog like running around. And the things with dogs, because I've encountered some dogs in my neighborhood before, I don't know what they be on, because he was just like kind of running sporadically. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, hey, we should probably turn around. So we went the other way. But other than that, it was like a little, like, I heard there's gators there. People do fishing and they bike there. So this is a really nice like trail. I think people cycle there and walk there or whatever. I've never been to that park, so I don't really know what people do there. But other than that, it was really enjoyable like to do my cool down there. The warm up like was pretty nice too, but with the cool down, you got to kind of like explore a little bit more. So that was pretty cool. So I would say the course is pretty cool. Wasn't the most hilly or like the most crazy hill. The craziest hill I've ran this season was Sealy, in my opinion. Because I don't know, it was just the way it propelled you up, and then it's just kind of like slingshotted you into the end, because the end is literally right there. So other than that, I'm gonna skip over this pre-race section, because if you know what I ate, sourdough, banana, you get the point. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. So we gonna overlay that part and go into number 4. What did I learn from the race? And I'm not gonna lie, I've learned the most from this race, because it's just going into the race. Obviously the last race recap, I didn't say a goal. Like, I knew in my head what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to like say anything about it. I kind of wanted to keep it like low key. But now that the race is over, I did this with my mile time trial last week. I already knew this existed. Like, this is a technique runners or people that train use when they're going like for a pretty big like effort. So I set out an A and a B goal. Didn't set a C goal. I just wanted the A and a B goal. So the A goal was sub 18, because sub 18, it just sounds cool. It looks very cool. I mean, obviously it's not like a 13 or 14, but for me, that was a pretty good goal to go for, like a pretty ambitious goal. It's very possible. Still think I'm going to run sub 18 at some point, whenever that is. I just guessed that district, that wasn't the time for me. But the A goal was sub 18, and the B goal was a PR, because anytime I do any type of race, I think I'll set like an A goal, like kind of like a sub 5 mile. Like, that's like a pretty like if you run a sub 5 mile, like, all right, you're cooking, like, respectively. And then the B goal is like a PR, like, all right, I just want to progress and get 1% better. So it just taught me a lot of things I need to work on internally as a person. Like, certain things I may be putting, like, I don't know. I feel like with this race and me not getting sub 18, even though I did PR, which is great, I just learned that I feel like I was putting too much of my self-worth into the race. Because it's like, at the end of the day, there's so many things that I do and other human beings do that make them who they are, other than what times they run and how much they lift and how lean they are and how appealing they look to others, like things like that. I mean, it matters. Like, obviously time is a metric that it's like literally a hard number that tells you, okay, you're progressing. Because if you ran 62 in the 400 and you ran 58, obviously you're progressing. But at the same time, I feel like the thing is with cross country and just races in general, people will bring in certain factors that may have swayed your race a certain way. I don't really get into that, because I don't like, to me it's kind of like an excuse. It really isn't, but to me, I don't want to like say, oh, I ran this time because there was a hill at mile 2 that crushed my quads, and there wasn't a hill, but obviously with cross country, there are different factors. The race could be muddy, it could be more elevation, the course could be a little bit weirder, things like that. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I just learned that you shouldn't put all your I guess you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, because the thing is, if you put all your self-worth into one thing, and when that stuff a failure happens or it doesn't go the way you want to, you honestly feel really lost. Because after this race, I wasn't it was interesting. I was kind of just in my head a bit. I'm like, what if this happened and what if that happened? Like, why didn't this go this way? Even though it was a PR, because I feel like when you really are into something and you really care, if like really the littlest thing doesn't go to plan, you kind of, you kind of freak out about it. You're like, all right, why didn't it go this way? Like, could I've maybe done this better, or maybe if I went less hard on that first mile, I would have ran sub 18 or whatever. At the end of the day, I have to realize, because I mean, I know the answer is just, it doesn't matter. I just realized it doesn't matter how much you think you know, or how much knowledge you think you have under your belt. Like, you're gonna get humbled, and you're gonna realize you need to be a lifelong student. You don't know everything. You never will know everything. That's the point of it. It's a pursuit of always learning new things and learning things that you're weak at and things that you need to work on mentally and physically. And obviously, I still have a long way to go, even though I've done some pretty cool things and I see more good things happening in my future. Just it's a lot more to learn. Obviously, that's my first season, but still, it's a lot more to learn. But I just learned that, like, your mind can really play tricks on you, because your mind can really make you think that my fault, I don't know what's wrong with my throat, but anyway, your mind can really make you think that you're someone completely different than who you say you are, and it can really trick you into thinking, oh, I'm not worthy, or oh, like, why didn't it go this way, or oh, like, I'm not good enough, or whatever. Like, in reality, that's just your mind trying to freak you out. Like, it's not even reality. It's not even what it is. It's just your mind doing suplexes, trying to make you think that you're not who you say you are, and you haven't held the standard, you haven't put in the effort day in and day out to do something. Because I was listening to this podcast this morning, he's just saying that, because I'm gonna go back to Nick Baer, because I always reference him, but it was just saying how, okay, basically he came from a strength background, right? And he ran like a 3:58 marathon. He ran a 4:16 marathon. Then he said he was gonna run a sub 3 marathon. He ran 3:24, and then he finally ran 2:56. So I mean, going on to that, I really realized that you can't really put a time cap on when you're gonna break sub 17 in the 5K, when you're gonna break sub 60 in the 400. Because sub 60 in the 400 for me took a while, but I ended up doing it. So I just realized that I can't put a time cap on when I'm gonna run sub 18, or when I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. It just really reminded me, you really have to trust the process. And I feel like I might have gotten too attached to the end goal. I didn't really realize, well, obviously the consistent bricks to even get to that point didn't change. I just don't really think I was really, like, towards the end of the season, I don't really think, it made me realize I wasn't really, like, fully present, really, like, okay, this is what it, like, the building blocks to get to that point. So it just reminded me to really enjoy the process and really enjoy that more than the end result. Because at the end of the day, the end result could happen. It could not. It doesn't matter how consistent you are. It could fall into place. It could not. It depends. But I just realized you really got to believe in yourself, and I got reminded that belief comes before ability. Like, you literally have to make sure that you're proving yourself right and you really believe in what you're about to do. Because I just feel like, kind of in that race, like, after the fact, I kind of just got lost in the sauce. I don't even know. It just made me realize a lot of things I need to work on, a lot of things that I kind of forgot about, and things that I've been kind of not acknowledging about what I've been doing and just life in general. So that was a very, very big answer to that, but I just wanted to be honest with y'all, because I just realized that it doesn't matter. Well, obviously consistency matters a lot. I'm never going to not say be consistent. I mean, that's pretty much the reason I'm at this point right now. It's just really acknowledge who you are as a person and be your biggest supporter. Because if you're in your head saying, I'm not good enough, like I'm not worthy enough, I can't do this and whatever, and you're just kind of really dogging on yourself, because I kind of feel like I was doing that at a certain point, like to a certain extent. It really sucks. And the thing is, when maybe you don't have people around you helping you out, or maybe you feel like your back's against the wall, it really can crush you and it really hurts, to be honest. So just really, obviously give yourself time to feel the emotions. Like I gave myself like a day or two. Now I'm starting, what I'm saying. But just, I just think a lot of times it made me realize people blow things out of proportion. Like, to be honest, it wasn't even that serious. It was a PR. I mean, we progressed, but obviously I just don't think that goal is meant to be right now. We just have to keep learning and learning how to race better, race planning, and learning how to execute better. Because I think the training is there. It's just the racing that I really need to work on, to be honest. But I just realized if you're down on yourself, and if people down on you too, the fact that you're down on yourself, that's, I ain't gonna lie, that's just finito. It's over. Because once you're doubting yourself and you're like, oh, you can't do this, oh, you're done, oh, blah blah blah, that's when it really starts getting bad, and you really start getting in your head, and you really start making yourself believe that you're a certain way. In reality, you're literally not that. You're everything but that. So just belief before ability. I learned that, like, you really have to be your biggest supporter before the consistency comes over and builds on top of that. But anyway, enough about that. What is the goal going into the track season? Now, main goal obviously is a sub 5 mile, and me being at 5:07, it's very close to that. So I'm looking forward to that, running, the first track meet. I'm looking forward to that, going for sub 5 again. And then just another goal, I was talking to my coach Jordan. We were watching the Open at the end, the Open 2-mile race, and we were just saying, well, I don't know how it came up. We were just talking about track season. I was like, obviously I'm going to focus on the mile and 2 mile, maybe the 800. And it was just saying, well, I was just saying, maybe running sub 11 would be a good first goal. Because I remember we did a 2-mile time trial a while ago. I'll put that on the screen here. It was like 11:41.1. I believe that's the time I ran. Something like that. It was between 11:30 and 11:40. I believe it was 11:41. Anyway, I think I could run sub 11 for sure. I'm very confident I could run sub 11 like right now. And then just cutting it down and getting it to sub 10. So I know if you're running under sub 10, you can start being competitive like with other runners. So that's cool for track season, because I know placing is a little bit more important in track season in my opinion. And then obviously, like I said, my main focus will be the 1600 and the 3200 meter. With a mile and 2 mile, I mean, technically they're not the mile and 2 mile, but at this point the 1600 meter is a mile, so we're just gonna refer to it as that. And then maybe a 4x4 and an 800, because I feel like if you run cross, you're gonna get thrown in the 4x4. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, because I used to run the 400. I still love sprinting and 150s, 300 meter repeats, 200 meter repeats. I still love that, so I wouldn't mind at all. And 800, obviously, that's leaning more towards long distance, but you still have to have some speed on you. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on now. Main focus for me, like my main event is the mile, because I think I could really do some. I believe I could really do some damage in the mile. So looking forward to track season. I think looking at it realistically and rationally after the race and just reflecting on that, I think it was a very good season. I think I executed the training to the best of my ability. The main thing I just wanted to take from it is just racing, especially for cross country. Just learning how to race better and execute better and execute. Whoa, that's a mouthful of words. Execute pacing better, and just knowing how to position yourself and when to push and when to cover moves. I think that's the main thing. That's when it gets really technical. But the training, I really think I executed that well, and I think that was a good chapter going into track season. But main thing I just want to take away from the season is, some people might think cross country is kind of off the wall, like you're doing up to at one point I was doing 10-mile long runs, and if you would have asked me when I started doing the 400, I might have kind of questioned it. I wouldn't say I would have been like, I can't do that, but I would have been like, that's interesting. But a lot of people hear cross country, they hear half marathons or maybe high rocks or CrossFit or marathoners or ultra marathoners. They're like, bro, what is wrong? You got some screws loose. What's wrong with you? But I feel like, I honestly think whatever you put your mind to, you can do anything you want to, as long as you're consistent with it, and as long as you show up day in and day out and you do what you need to do to get there. Because I mean, I'm not special. I'm just consistent enough, and I have the courage to do it. I'm a human being too. Obviously, there's certain things I deal with, but I think it's just being resilient, and I really learned you just have to learn and really lean into the process, because to be honest, the end destination doesn't matter if you don't lean into the process, so you don't really honestly give yourself kudos when you do some pretty cool stuff. I think a lot of times, well, I don't know if I'm just speaking for me, but I think a lot of people, they do some, like, let's say you run a sub 5 mile, and people are like, oh yeah, like you did pretty good, like giving you pats on the back. But at the end of the day, first of all, you don't need their appraisal, but second of all, like, you just like, oh, like I could have done better. Oh, like my stride wasn't as good here. Like, honestly, like, bro, like, just accept what you just did. Like I'm proud of that one. Like, I've had months of prep or weeks of prep going into this, and I've had long runs, tempo workouts, 400-meter repeats, just doing things in the face of adversity, and just being like, I'm proud of that, and then accepting that and moving on, and getting better, progressing from there. I just realized that you really got to be your number one supporter, because if you're not supporting yourself, I'm not saying be egotistical and act big-headed, and I'm not saying that, but at the same time, you need to acknowledge what you're doing and be like, all right, obviously there's things you could do better, but acknowledge the things you're doing well too, because I feel like if you don't, when you finally get to that end destination, or you get close to it, or you progress it somehow, I just really think you'll feel lost, and you'll really be questioning yourself, like where did I go wrong? In reality, nothing's wrong. You're just looking at the wrong thing, and you're blindsided because you're not really in the process of what you're doing. You're not even acknowledging it. But I just realized that, and you can really do anything you set your mind to as long as you're consistent, as always. So that was a little bit of a longer recap, because obviously I just wanted to go over the season and really explain how I felt after the race, and just let y'all know where we're going from now. But that's episode 53, last cross country meet recap of the season, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.